What's going on, everybody? It's FREEDO here for Your Overwatch. Today we're going to be doing another episode of Coach FREEDO. Special thanks to Mornon, who sent in this D.Va gameplay for us to break down. If you would like to submit a gameplay to possibly be used for a lesson type video on this series, you can email it in to youroverwatchplays@gmail.com and put the YouTube link in the body of the email and put Coach FREEDO in the subject line, and you could see your gameplay get featured on the channel. Now today we're going to be talking about target prioritization, impact, and yes, of course, the mythical gold damage. Now I don't mean to imply that our friend Mornon here was hiding behind his damage medals to try to justify something. I don't mean to disparage him. Based upon his communication with his team in this game, seems like a pretty nice guy. But I thought this gameplay in particular showed a great example of how some tank players lose focus on what the most important target is and instead pelt damage into hitboxes the size of barn doors with ammo capacities that are near infinite, or in D.Va's case, actually infinite, and then rack up tons of damage and wonder what they could improve. Because of course, if the game tells you you have gold damage, you might get this illusion that you're doing the right thing because you're getting a medal for whatever you just did. But that's a bit of a problem though. A lot of tank players don't realize that they're inherently brawly type characters, which means 1, they're in more fights, 2, they're fighting all the time, and 3, can easily be doing trash damage. And this goes for all the tanks. It's very easy to play them wrong and get gold damage for it. D.Va shoots shotguns with infinite ammo, and she has a lot of HP herself, which means if she just stands around and blasts damage towards the biggest target in front of her, she's going to be dealing more damage than, say, the McCree in the backline, who's carefully trying to thread the needle on the 200 HP Genji. It physically isn't possible for McCree to be out-damaging you when you're spamming into things at the front line, and he's hunting down an impact frag on the backline. And that's not to say that one job's important and the other one isn't. It's that I think that too many tank players tunnel vision into just doing damage all the time instead of doing their role. So let's discuss what that is for D.Va, and then we're going to break down a few examples from this particular gameplay of how to prioritize this in our mind. D.Va's damage is very, very bad at anything beyond a few meters of range. So with that knowledge, even though you can shoot at infinite range, most of the time, you shouldn't. It makes you slower, it's going to put you out in the open, taking irrelevant damage, and really you could do a lot better to learn when to just sit around and wait for the fight to break out, like a Winston does. Winston only can shoot it from a few feet, so he has to wait around. I think the fact that D.Va can shoot at long range makes people think that she should be, but she doesn't do any damage, so what's the point anyway? You wouldn't stand and snipe as Tracer or Reaper, you shouldn't do it with D.Va either. So once we correct that part of our game, what's the next section that we want to do? Well, I said this in my most recent Zarya guide, which I think goes for all of the off tanks. Winston and Ryan, of course, are main tanks. They have a separate role altogether, but off tanks want to find themselves at the core of the engagement. And especially when you have the mobility of a D.Va, you need to be consistently finding yourself in the right spot at the right time and not tunnel vision into shooting the wrong thing for low impact when you could be pressuring a more high impact frag. What that means, as the fight spreads out, you need to be opening your attention to realize what's the most important thing to be shooting at the time. And especially as D.Va, it's important to remember that defense matrix is way more powerful than your damage is, so getting that where it needs to be more often is going to be giving you more value than simply using her as a mobile Soldier 76, because she's bad at that. Now let's look at a couple examples of Mornon and his target selection, and when it's been good and when it's been not as good. Here at the break of the fight, our Junkrat gets a kill, and the enemy Winston dives into our back line. Now, falling back this direction can be good. Obviously, there's a Discord orb on him. We melt him quite easily with the help of the focus fire of our team, but this is what's called a peel. When something is fighting into your back line, you should be keen to peel back as a mobile tank to try to protect it. I like to call a defensive Winston or D.Va sort of an enforcer tank. Because they have great quick mobility, they can be out of position, and then when a dive comes, they're able to reposition quickly to sort of enforce and bully away those pesky Genjis and Tracers and diving Winstons away from their healers and whatnot in order to protect them. But now let's look at an example where our D.Va player was able to keep doing lots of damage, but it was negligible damage and in the wrong place. Here the enemy Roadhog just used his ult, and Roadhog can be kind of a trap for focus fire. Either he's your number one priority and you don't let his big HP pool and ability to heal himself get any value, or you kind of have to just focus the small targets around him. Now, because we're D.Va and we're shooting weapons that have shotgun spread, it can be easy to tunnel vision to thinking that we should be pelting that into tanks. It feels like it's the most effective, but what's most important is for us to focus fire on the highest impact threat on the enemy team. Now that changes from moment to moment, and there isn't a masterless guide that I can give you 100% of the time to always make sense and be right. Because it's complicated and you're going to have to think about things that are more of a threat to the team, not just you as well. Here we get the enemy Roadhog low, but he starts to duck away and Genji comes in with Blade, diving our backline. We get a little bit tunnel visioned on what we should be shooting at, and this is a missed opportunity in target prioritization. We can do physically more damage if we're always trying to pelt into the Roadhog's head, because more of our shots hit, he just soaks up tons and tons of more damage, but he also can get away and go heal himself, making our damage irrelevant. Instead, if we divert our attention towards the Genji and make sure that we use our thrusters to both hit him for 50 guaranteed damage, as well as position ourselves in a way that is annoying for the Genji, so let's say at the heart of where he wants to be, protecting our backline, then we can blast into the Genji. Now also you might think, well, Genji can just reflect, right? Meaning that we can't deal damage then. Aha! But if Genji's reflecting, he's not swinging a sword, making him far less lethal. But that's just the thing. In Overwatch, forcing that Genji to use reflect to defend himself instead of killing your teammate has way more value than pegging irrelevant damage into the Roadhog, which gets you gold damage. You don't get a medal for removing value from a Genji blade, but you will get more wins from it. Now luckily, because it's Hanamura, you are able to hold here with 1 tick left. And as this fight breaks out, our D.Va player actually does a great play. Sees that the enemy Mercy is low and starts to focus his attention on trying to shoot her. But as our thrusters come off cooldown, we just keep firing at whatever we can see in front of us. Now there's a good chance that this fight would have been lost either way, but it's important to know how to make an impact in this fight as an off-tank player. Your overall damage and damage medal means nothing. Confirming impact kills does. Mercy can heal herself if damage isn't done to her over a very short amount of time. So if you spend time shooting a Mercy and getting her low and letting her get away and heal herself, it's one of the most inefficient ways of focus fire that you can have. Because of that, Mercy more or less just nullified our entire D.Va effect this whole time. If we're going to shoot the Mercy at all, what we needed to do is commit to chasing her down and finishing her. Instead, we stand up and turret as if we're playing Bastion and just keep firing, which will get us more overall damage on the board, but using our thrusters as soon as they come off cooldown to chase down Mercy to guarantee the kill would have got us the elimination. It's much better to decidingly not deal damage for a period, lowering your overall damage output in order to confirm a kill so you get man advantage as quick as you can. Somewhere at some point in time in the Overwatch community, there's been this myth that you should just be dealing damage constantly with every character. Never really has been the case. That's not how you win games, that's not how you play the best that you can play. Focus fire and impact damage is where it's at. Now our last example here in overtime, we can see the effects of poor target prioritization. Right off the break of the fight, the tanks dive in our Zenyatta, who punishes tanks, eats them up, and you help clean up D.Va. But at this point, our hero unfortunately prioritizes baby D.Va above the other threats that are at the choke. That really, baby D.Va is like half a character, or maybe even like a third of one. Not a big priority, and if she runs away and pulls you towards her, it's as if you traded 1 for 1 in this fight, leaving the rest of your team to fend for themselves. D.Va throwing her life away here gets equaled out by spending so much time going and chasing her. It's as if you're out of the fight. Meanwhile, as we chase the D.Va, the enemy Junkrat pulls out kills out of nowhere. I don't know what happened in order for this to happen, but if we remember that it's not our job to be focusing down tanks nor to be dealing damage, but instead enforcing our backline and making sure we're disrupting the damage dealers for the enemy team, putting defense matrix in the face of the enemy Junkrat on attack, which is kind of a weird thing altogether, simply soaking up the damage with defense matrix is way more value than spamming our fusion cannons at tanks, which our other characters on our team are better at dealing with anyway. The real value of D.Va is keeping characters alive and negating entirely the damage of the enemy team. That's where her big value's at. But instead, playing for damage here gets opened up for us to take casualties when we didn't need to, because remember, the offense has the advantage here. their spawn is much closer. So if they all 6 die but get like 3 kills for it, especially if they're supports and one of them isn't Lucio, the run back time that you're going to have is going to be really far compared to theirs. Right now, I think one of your supports needs to be changed to Lucio immediately and speeding everybody out to try to get to the point, because otherwise they're going to have 6 at the choke before you have a chance to really set up. And all of this could have been thwarted if our D.Va prioritized using defense matrix to protect our team so that they can deal damage and stay alive rather than us dealing the damage ourselves. Now when this next attack comes in, we really don't have any business at fighting at the choke because we're going to be underpowered immensely. Because of that, when the 6 enemies are able to just turn the corner and only see 2 of us, they win the fight easily. Unfortunately, what you had to do there is concede all the space, let them come in entirely, and try to regroup with your team. Then when you're all together, go back in and win the fight from there. Really tough loss this one is, but thanks for the submission, Mornon. And everybody, be sure to keep sending in your gameplay so we can keep cranking out these kinds of videos. I love making them and I hope they're very useful to you guys. If they are, be sure to hit the like button. It really does help us out and lets us know that you're enjoying the content. If you haven't already, hit subscribe because we upload each and every day. So you're going to want to hit the bell icon so you join the squadron of notification and get notified when our videos go live. Linked in the description, you can check out our Twitch page, our Twitter, and our Discord server where you can interact with our community and find teammates to pair up with. That's been it for me. I've been FREEDO for Your Overwatch. I'll see you guys next time.